Hey guys, welcome back to the channel again. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have had a lovely day. It is so sunny outside. I think someone on the radio said earlier that Scotland was meant to be warmer than Ibiza, which is just phenomenal. I don't know if you guys agree at home, but I feel like I've waited all of this year so far up until now for us to have this lovely weather. It just makes everyone feel so much better. It makes everyone feel in a much better mood, and everyone just looks happy, which is so nice to see. We've got no COVID restrictions on us anymore, and we can do what we want when we want. So I'm really pleased and happy that we've got some lovely weather out there today. Following on from that, I have been sort of thinking about what recipes I like, what ones I've done before in the past, and which ones I would like to make for my husband who hasn't had them before. So we are, I as I said, have joined Slimming World. My husband hasn't joined Slimming World, but he is still eating the Slimming World food at home that I'm obviously preparing and sort of prepping and making up for both of us. So whatever I eat, he has as well, or a very slight variation to what I have. So it's been a really good week so far. Today my plan is to make us a sin-free Diet Coke chicken. So some of you may have heard of that before, some of you might not have. You might think that sounds terrible, but I can assure you it really does taste good. It tastes a little bit like teriyaki chicken, if you like that. And I haven't made this for a long time. I've not made it for my husband, and we've been together for several years. So but before, I think it was last year, I made us a sort of diet Fanta or diet orange chicken with some pineapple, some peppers and things in it, and it does taste really good. It is a little bit like sweet and sour, so if that's up your street as well, you can give this a try at home. Now this recipe, as I said, is sin-free. It is a healthier recipe, so regardless if you're following Slimming World or not, then this is by all means a healthy recipe. It's easy to put together, there's not too much involved in it, and it does take around 55 minutes in total, so that's including the sort of preparation and the cooking time. But with everything, you can put in whatever you want to put in. So the ingredients that I have here today are some of the same as what the ingredients list will tell you on the Slimming World app or on the website, but I have decided to throw in a couple of extra bits that I've got in the fridge and I enjoy. So it just means that they're not just sitting there wasting away, and they're actually getting used. So everything that we have here today is sin-free, as I said, so I'm really hoping that you guys enjoy this video. We're going to serve our chicken with rice, so looking forward to that as well. I've not had rice for quite a wee while, so I'm looking forward to having that as well. So thank you for watching with us today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Okay guys, so I'm just going to run through the ingredients that we've got today. As I said earlier, I have some of the ingredients from the original Slimming World recipe on their app and their website, or if you've seen it online at all. I'm aware that if you are a Slimming World member, there are lots of different recipes on Facebook groups, support groups. It may be that you share recipes within your own group as well. So whenever I have followed Slimming World, I always change the recipes a little bit to suit myself with what I've got, because I think really if I was to go and buy every single ingredient that every single recipe needed, I would spend probably quite a lot of money, and I'm not here to spend a lot of money, I'm here to lose weight instead. So I really want to make the most out of what I've got already in the fridge, and I'll always try my very best to make it as helpful for you guys as possible, without going out to buy random ingredients just to make it work, because I'm sure with most recipes you suit yourself with them, don't you? And as long as they are full of the right things, then there's no harm in it at all. So it also saves food from going to waste as well, which I'm a really passionate person about. I really don't like food waste. So this today will be a recipe for 4 people. So we've got enough chicken here for 4 people. There's 400 grams in there, and they are the chicken breast mini fillets. But what I'm going to do is have it for myself and my husband tonight, and then we'll also keep it for our lunch tomorrow. So it will save us having to cook again. It also saves us having to meal prep anything else for tomorrow at all. So it's really handy, and this is a great recipe for it. It's great hot or cold. I'm quite a lover of cold food. once it's cooled down and when it's been hot. I always think it tastes that little bit better again. I'm not sure if you guys agree, but yeah, eating cold food doesn't bother me at all. I know that's not everyone's thing, but yeah, take it back to my student days, I suppose. But yes, so as we said, we've got our chicken breast, we have got our 1 can, so it's a 330ml can of Coke Zero. Now on the recipes you may see it saying Diet Coke, some people use Pepsi Max. We only have Coke Zero in the house, so that's what we're using today. And we will use the whole can of this to sort of simmer down and reduce so we get that nice syrupy sauce. We also have some sugar snap peas, so we will add these in probably quite late on towards the cooking time, just to make sure that they don't sort of disintegrate and lose their flavour, but we also want to keep the nutrients in there as well. Now I love these in sort of rich sauces because I feel they just go so well with it, and I think it's nice to find a nice sugar snap pea in the meal, and I really do enjoy these. So we have these as well. We've got a red pepper and a green pepper, just for a little bit of a change. I couldn't actually get any orange or yellow peppers, which are they're actually my favourite ones, but again, this is all we could get. This is what we've got in the fridge, so this is what we're using. And we have some pepper. We've got our little salt pig over there that we'll use our sea salt in. We've got some garlic granules as well. I don't have any fresh garlic and I don't have any garlic paste, but this gives a really good flavour. I've only just started using this over the last few weeks, but I found that the Asda, probably Tesco, Waitrose, whatever you use, but garlic granules, they're a really nice flavour, and I feel that they're not bitter or anything like that. They're not overpowering either. So these are my go-to if I don't have any fresh garlic in the house, and it does work out really well. We have some dark soy sauce, which we can add to make our sauce much more sort of salty and syrupy, give it a bit more depth as well. We have 2 sort of small to medium red onions. The recipe did call for 1 onion. It didn't state whether it was a red or a brown onion, but I thought they're quite small, so we'll just use the 2. And myself and my husband, we like onions, so it doesn't really matter. I've also got a bit of a wild card here today, so this is courgette. And I've not put this in cooked chicken before, but I've got some to use up and I really like courgette, so I'm just going to pop it in, and because we will be simmering the sauce for quite a wee while, it will soften the courgette really well and it'll taste lovely and it'll absorb some of those sort of rich flavours as well. So looking forward to using this. We've also got a little bag of white basmati rice, which is 150 grams. Now we will be sharing this packet. This is actually from so it's too good to go. This is actually from a HelloFresh bag or box that we got a wee while ago, and we didn't use everything up, all the dry ingredients up. So still got this left over, so this is what we're going to use today to get rid of it. And it's good as well that it's already pre-portioned, 150 grams, so it's about 75 grams each, which is a portion. It is a portion serving. I know in Slimming World that people say you can eat as much pasta and as much rice and as much fish and as much, you know, all of these free foods that they're called on Slimming World plan. But for me personally, I always weigh out my pasta and I always weigh out my rice. I always weigh out couscous as well, and you know, look, a good sort of rule of thumb, I suppose, is looking at the serving suggestions. So, you know, this for example is 400 grams. It's quite a lot of meat in there. My thoughts were, well, around 100 grams each, or just over, just under, with all of our vegetables, means that we have 4 really good portions without having to buy a much bigger pack of meat. And again, being able to share up all the vegetables and make sure we have plenty of them to fill up on means that we don't need as much meat in the first place either. We also have our double concentrate tomato puree, so we'll be using this today as well. We have our chicken stock cube, which will make up some chicken stock to go in the dish as well. That also helps with the sauce and the flavour. And we've also got our some sort of passata here too. Spinach, baby spinach. I love spinach. I put it in most things. And you can't really go wrong just putting a little bit in at the end once the sauce is thickened and reduced down. And again, extra speed vegetables if you're following the plan. If not, you're going to get lots of nutrients and vitamins from having this in your meal, which is great. And last but not least, I nearly forgot to tell you about this. So the recipe doesn't strictly call for chopped tomatoes or anything like that in it. It does call for passata, which we've got. But I like putting in a little bit, so just for a little bit of texture to the sauce, apart from the vegetables that we're going to add in, just to sort of build it up a little bit. I've just always done that with the meal, but this is a little deal that I'm going to tell you about. So it's a yellow label. We got this in Asda. It was 50p every one of these. So these are the Gino di Campo chopped tomatoes. They had cannellini beans, kidney beans, lots and lots of different things from sort of cupboard staples, if you like. They are organic, and we got them for 25p each. So we took quite a few of them off the shelf and we've stocked up our cupboard, so it's really, really handy. Now this has still got about, what, 6 months, 5 months, 6 months in date, and I bought this a wee while ago, so really good dates on them. I'm not sure if it's maybe just because they're maybe closing off that range within Asda, or maybe rebranding or what, I'm not sure, but that's an excellent deal. So if you do see any, be sure to pick them up, because you won't get them much cheaper than that, especially for organic as well. It definitely is worth paying the 25p for them. So what we'll do just now is I'm just going to move some of my items away, so I've got a little bit more workspace to do. I've already sprayed the pan with a little bit of fry light. Now, as I said in my previous video, we do have good pans, they're non-stick, and we don't have any issues with them. But if I'm ever cooking anything other than meat together, so the recipe calls for you to cut up your chicken, pop in your peppers and your onions and fry them off together. Now, I have put a little bit of fry light in just to help with the cooking process there and to speed up the sort of softening of the vegetables. Otherwise I would have just put it in without the fry light. I used around 10 sprays there, so it's just so you guys know at home for reference. So I'm just going to move some stuff away and then we'll get to work with chopping, and there will be a lot of it. Okay guys, so we have cut up our courgette, we've also chopped up our red onion as well, and what we're going to do next is just head on to pop this stuff in the pan, and we'll also chop up the peppers in a minute as well and then add them in. After that we will cut up our chicken and we'll add it all together into the pan and heat it up and get it cooked. Okay, so we've now got our courgette, our onion and our peppers in the pan all chopped up. I had a bit of difficulty with the seeds from the peppers. They were just getting everywhere. They always do, don't they? They're just so annoying. But I didn't want to get any into the dish because I don't want, you know, not that we're worried about eating them, but I just didn't want them in there. So I was being quite scrupulous with trying to make sure I didn't get any in. And of course, the more I did that, the more challenging it was to get them into the pan. So yeah, what we'll do now is we will cut up our chicken breast and then we will get the gas on and we'll start to heat up our vegetables to get them softened and cooked through, along with our chicken as well. What we'll do is we'll just season the chicken and the vegetables with some salt and pepper, as I always do, and we'll then head on to the next step. Okay, so we've cut up our chicken now I'm just going to give my hands a wash and then we will add in our chicken to the pan. Okay, just give this a quick stir. And also add in some salt, pepper, and our garlic granules as well. Now I really like garlic, that's why I'm adding quite a decent amount, but it's completely up to yourself what you do. So just slide this in. There we go. Just get rid of this and give my hands another wash. Okay. So we'll just give this a stir now. Oh. Don't know what that is. Dropping everything now. So what we'll do just now is we will boil the kettle, and it means we can make up around 200 ml of chicken stock. Now, the more stock you put in, the more sauce you have to reduce. So I generally try to put a little bit less in so that, sorry, the kettle was making a funny noise there. But I generally try to make a little bit less stock than what the recipe suggests, just because it gives it a more intense flavour of the chicken. But again, it's completely up to yourself whether you do that or not. It's just something that I do, so don't think that you have to do exactly as I'm doing just now. And obviously, as I said, you can make the recipe your own. So what I'll do is I will just grab this mug. Actually, it's so clean, it's clean. But I will use this as a sort of gauge. Now this cup itself holds around 350 ml. So if I try to aim for about halfway up, or just over, then that should be absolutely fine, and we can just let this sit. Yeah, there we go, perfect amount. I don't like filling the kettle all the way up to the top when I'm only using a small amount of water, so that actually worked out perfect. So we've got enough in there, so we'll just let that sit for a minute. I'll get a spoon and just make sure that we can help it dissolve a little bit. Now the other thing that I do is add in my passata to my stock, so it's all warm because the other ones are sort of cold or ambient temperature, and we've got some nice hot stock. We're obviously trying to keep the heat in the pan as well for our chicken and our vegetables that we're cooking away here. So they are starting to sort of soften up a wee bit. The chicken looks mostly white. There are still some pink bits there, but regardless, we're just trying to sort of seal it off. And when we add in our Coke and our Coke Zero and our stock and our passata, etc., we will then let the dish simmer, so all of the meat and the vegetables will cook together. And as always, if you're in doubt, double check it with temperature probe. So I always like to do a bit of a cut at the side, and then what I'll probably do is add in maybe 3 tablespoons of passata. Try not to spill it. There we go. So 1, 2, 3, and they're generous ones if you didn't notice that already. I'll also use this for our tomato puree as well, so I'll do 1 spoonful of tomato puree. You can add more in depending on how it tastes once it's all sort of mostly cooked together. Again, it's down to personal preference really, so you can suit yourself. This is double concentrate as well, so I do find that 1 sort of generous tablespoon worth like this is more than enough, to be honest. I'll just show you that. I feel that one of these is enough for most dishes. Again, we'll just pop that in. And we've also got our dark soy sauce as well. Now the recipe does call for Worcester sauce as well. I don't actually have any Worcester sauce, but it is what it is really. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. There have been times where I've made this in the past that I didn't have it and it was absolutely fine. I think you only need a few tablespoons as well of it, so I'm not worrying too much about it. So I'm just going to put in just a bit really. I'm not going to measure that out. Again, if you're following the plan, this is free anyway, so you technically don't need to measure it out, but obviously being aware that it is quite high in salt, so you need to be aware of that if you're trying to watch your salt intake. Now, following on from that, as I said earlier, our yellow label finely chopped organic Gino de Campo tomatoes. I like a little bit of texture in the sauce rather than just the vegetables with like a thin sauce basically. I prefer a little bit more depth to it than that. Just give this a bit of a quick stir. Oh, that smells lovely. It smells really good. And again, just a little bit of moisture come off from the vegetables, but not too much. Everything seems to be sort of cooking quite nicely together in there. There we go. That looks good. And with regards to the chopped tomatoes, I'll see if I can open these. I always struggle to open these, but oh, there we go. Success. There we go. So because this is almost ready to add in our sauces, I am going to just add in a little bit. So I'm going to use just a little bit of this, just to add a little bit more texture. Now I've probably used about half, and it is a 390 grams tub, cardboard box, whatever. So we'll stir this in. And add this in. Now I'll just give this a stir here, just to fold everything in. And last but not least, the main ingredient, Coke Zero. So what we'll do is we'll pour this in, and then I'll head off, sit with my feet up for a wee while and let this reduce down. So I'll see you in a minute. Hey guys, so I just paused filming there for a wee bit just because it was going on for quite a while to reduce the sauce down. but it's now finished. I added in some sugar snap peas as well as some spinach as well, and it's all wilted down. The sugar snap peas are now cooked. We've also got some rice here, which I mentioned earlier, and what I did is I filled up the pan just a bit more than the amount of rice we had in the pan with some boiling water, brought it to the boil, took it off the boil and added our lid on top to help it steam. And I'll just show you the rice inside. So it's a nice fluffy consistency in there, and there are no big lumps or gelatinous pieces. That is one of my pet hates, is when the rice just doesn't taste good. So we'll keep the lid on there for now, but what we'll do is we will plate up our food and then we'll do a wee taste test at the end, and I'll let you know how it is. So I'm just going to use half of this portion that we've got in the pan, because as I said earlier, we're going to use half of this for lunch tomorrow, so it saves us having to make it all over again. One side. And we've got our nice fluffy rice. So really looking forward to having this. Now there does appear to be quite a lot of rice here, so I might not use all of it, but anything that we've got left over I will just pop into tomorrow's box with lunch. So again, it saves us having to make more rice. If we do use it all up, my husband, I know he's probably keen to have a little bit more rice than me, but if we do use it all up, then what we'll do is we'll probably pop some cauliflower rice in the microwave instead of normal rice for tomorrow's lunch. There we go. So I've got a little bit left, so that might do tomorrow's lunch for my husband. I pop that to the side just now to cool down, and this is the finished product. So really looking forward to trying it. I've not had I've not added the spinach in before, and I've not added in the courgette before, but I think it'll taste just as good with these extra ingredients included. So I'll have a little bit of it now with the rice, and I'll let you know how it tastes. It's very hot. Thumbs up. It tastes really good. There's a nice smoky flavour to it. The sauce is not too thick, it's not too thin. I think there's just the right amount that you could mix it all together if you wanted with the rice. You could have it on its own with vegetables, and I think this has turned out really well. So use up what you've got at home. Don't worry about the recipes too much if you're on Slimming World. As long as it's speed or free food, you can have it to, you know, until you're full, basically, is what they advise. So this was sin-free. Again, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. This is the second video that we've done of this type, so we're still trying to get to grips with what we're doing and how we're doing it, but I hope it's working out okay for you guys at home, and I hope it's been useful. So let me know if you tried to make this recipe at home. Let me know how it turns out, and we'll maybe do an alternative one with the diet orange juice or diet Fanta, as we mentioned earlier, in another video. So keep your eyes peeled for that, and thank you so much for watching as ever. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks. Bye.